All ready?
Oh, good evening, Mr. Shaw.
Good evening.
Yes, we're all ready for you to talk to America. But we hope you'll be kind to them tonight.
Oh, no. That's not what they expect from me. You see, I love them. But if I was kind to them, they'd take no more notice of me than that. Well,
Now, everything is here for you to talk.
you'll, what's the signal?
There'll be a green light, Mr. Shaw. The green light will signal to you to start.
Well, I shan't look very nice in the green light. Oh, they won't.
They won't see you.
They won't see me. Well, now. All right, blaze away. I'm quite ready. Hello, America. Hello, all my friends in America. Hello, all you dear boobs who have been saying for a month past that I have gone dotty about Russia. Well, if the latest news from your side is true, you can hardly be saying that now. Russia has the laugh of us. She has us fooled, beaten, shamed, shown up, outpointed, and all but knocked out. We have lectured her from the heights of our moral superiority, and now we are calling on the mountains to hide our blushes in her presence. We have rebuked her ungodliness, and now the sun shines on Russia as on a country with which God is well pleased, whilst his wrath is heavy on us, and we don't know where to turn for comfort or approval. We have prided ourselves on our mastery in big business and its solid foundations in a knowledge of human nature. And now we are bankrupt. Your president, who became famous by feeding the starving millions of war-devastated Europe, cannot feed his own people in time of peace. The despairing cries of our financiers here have resounded through the world and created a run on the Bank of England and broken it. Our budget shows a deficit of 170 million. Yours shows a deficit of 900 million. Our businessmen cannot find employment for 3 millions of our workers, and yours have had to turn away twice as many into the streets. Our statesmen on both sides can do nothing but break the heads of starving men or buy them off with doles and appeals to charity. Our agriculture is ruined, and our industries collapsing under the weight of their own productiveness, because we have not brains enough to profit by them, and in the face of all this business incompetence, political helplessness, and financial insolvency, Russia flaunts her budget surplus of 150 million, her people employed to the last man and woman, her scientific agriculture doubling and trebling her harvest, her roaring and multiplying factories, her efficient rulers, her atmosphere of such hope and security as has never before been seen in a civilized country on earth. Naturally, the contempt of the Russians for us is enormous. You fools, they are saying to us. Why can you not do as we are doing? You cannot employ nor feed your people? Well, send them to us, and if they are worth their salt, we will employ and feed them. You cannot even make your silly laws obeyed, or keep your armed gangsters and racketeers out of your streets at noonday. Well, send them to us, and you will have no more trouble with it. People who will not make good as citizens in Russia do not trouble anyone long. And what can we say in reply but who would have thought it? Pretty feeble that, eh? Too true to be pleasant, isn't it? Well, let me give you a word or two of consolation. After all, The wonderful things the Russians are doing consist mostly in carrying out suggestions made by Americans, many of whom have been sent to jail for their pains. I am not an American, but I'm the next worst thing, an Irishman. 50 years ago, I was got hold of by an American named Henry George, who opened my eyes so surprisingly that I felt I must follow his notions up. So I tried a German Jew named Karl Marx, who opened my eyes still wider, leaving it quite plain to me that our capitalist system, though we could foozle along with it for a time at the cost of frightful unhappiness and degrading poverty for 9/10 of the population, was bound to end in the bankruptcy of civilization. 14 years later, a Russian named Ulyanov, better known to you as Lenin, followed my example and read Marx. In 1914, our imperialists involved us in a war. You tried to keep out of that war, but you were forced in. Thanks to you, that war, instead of doing what the imperialists meant it to do, abolished 3 empires, changed Europe from a royal continent to a republican one, and transformed the only European power that was bigger than the United States in population, extent of territory, and natural resources into a federation of communist republics. That was not quite what you intended, was it? Your boys were not sent to the slaughter cheering for Karl Marx and echoing his slogan, "Proletarians of all lands, unite." However, you've done it. This wonderful new power in the world, this union of socialist Soviet republics, or for short, the USSR, is what you got for your liberty loan and the blood of your young men. It was not what you intended to get, but it seems that it was what God intended you to get. Anyhow, you did it, and now you must make the best of it. I know it is hard, because you and poor old England are in the bankruptcy court, where France has already had to compound with her creditors for 10 cents to the dollar, whilst the USSR, your baby, is on the upgrade. That looks a little, doesn't it, as if the Russians were managing their affairs better than we are. However, you do not bear all the responsibility for establishing communism in Russia. You share it with me, now speaking to you, Bernard Shaw. In 1914, as some of you may remember, I declared that if the soldiers had any common sense, they would come home and attend to their business instead of senselessly slaughtering one another because their officers ordered them to. Some of you are very angry with me for taking a common sense view of war, which is an affair of glory and patriotism and has nothing to do with common sense. Well, the British soldiers had no common sense and went on slaughtering. The French soldiers had no common sense and kept blazing away. The German and Austrian soldiers were just as foolish. The Italian An astonishing thing happened. The Russian soldiers took my advice. They said, "We have had enough of this," and came straight home. They formed bodies of workmen and soldiers called Soviets, and they raised the cry of all power to the Soviets. The government of the Tsar, which was as rotten as it was abominably tyrannical, collapsed like a house of cards. But the Soviets could do nothing without leaders and a political constitution. That was the opportunity for Lenin and his friends, who had educated themselves politically by reading Marx. They had the courage to jump at it. They took command of the Soviets and established the USSR, exactly as Washington and Jefferson and Hamilton and Franklin and Tom Paine established the United States of America 141 years before. If you